So moving on, we'll just touch on our brakes. The most important part where you have to stop and make sure that your ride is always safe. Okay. What you want to check first is your brake pads. How much health does it have left? I know it's not that clear, but your braking, from your brake pads, there's a certain amount of braking compound that comes with it. When it becomes too thin, a good rule of thumb, it's difficult to measure, but is to always maintain at least 1.5 millimeters of braking compound left. If not, you have to replace it. Make sure that there's enough compound for you to last for many rides to come. If it's very worn down, then best to replace it immediately. Nextly will be adjustments. So there's a few ways to adjust the Royale's braking system. This is a caliper pull system, by the way, where the pivot over here would instantaneously move both brake pads together. So firstly, I'll touch on the fact if you need to adjust the tightness of your braking. For example, if it's too loose or if it's too tight. See, this one, I merely touch it and my brake pad's touching together. As for this one, I merely touch it and it's not touching at all, but I must pull all the way here. So if you want to just make some small adjustments to it, there is a small hole here. If you can zoom in on that. If you see this hole over here, it requires a size 2 Allen key, which I have over here. So this size 2 Allen key over here. What you want, if you want to loosen, we merely turn it to the left. And if you want to tighten, we turn it to the right. So in this case, if I want to tighten my braking, just stick it in and tighten it to the right. After a few revolutions, you just gauge on how tight it is. The braking pads will just come closer, and it will provide you with the sufficient and optimal braking power that you desire. And if in the instance where you do find it not aligned, where one pad is further than the other, what you can do is use a size 10 wrench, right here, size 10 wrench. At the back of your wheel, there is the mount where we mount our brake cap, where we mount the main housing for our brakes. So it comes over here. What we want to do is loosen that first. So after we loosen that, we will realize that this is very easy to move. So once you get it aligned together with the rim that you want, so that once you press on the brake, both pads come together at the same time to stop the wheel. So we just tighten the brake housing, and I don't know if you can see, but yeah, then it'll be fine. Yeah. So after you adjust the brake housing, what we also want to check is if the brake pads are touching the wheel or not. It always has to be at the rim. Make sure that it does not touch the wheel or is too far down below. It has to be just nice on your braking rim. And if you do realize in the sense that it is dirty, like it's muddy, very, very, I would say, grimy, and it can affect your braking, but at no instance should you use lubricant. Always remember to just wipe it off with a damp cloth, or you can use some rubbing alcohol to wipe it off just to clean the grime and grease off the rims. Okay? So that's for the braking segment. If you have any questions, you can leave it now, and I will just clarify with you if you need any clarification.
Yeah. Maybe you can share with them what's the standard duration of brake pad wear.
Brake pad wear would also, like all general maintenance that you do, it will be fully dependent on how much you ride. If you ride really often, you're going to tend to stop a lot, and your pads are going to wear down much faster. So some pads actually are very smart, where they have a line to indicate when you need to change your pads already. But a certain amount of wear goes down, and then you hit that line, you change the pad immediately. So best to always keep an eye on it, because different pads use different braking compounds, and the lifespan of pads could are very, how do you say, it varies through different braking pad brands. But always just keep a good eye on that before you go out for every ride. Just do a quick spot check. It's just doing a quick spot check that would make the difference for your ride for the day. Okay.
I think we can show them how to tighten the overall brake.
The housing? Okay.
The cable at the side, you remember you say it's frayed or something?
Oh yes, okay.
Share that with them.
Ah yes, okay. So always before you set off, make sure that your cables and your outer cables are in good condition. Make sure that there's no loose strands or it's frayed at any sense, because we don't want a weak cable at all. Your cable has to be just like this in the optimal condition. So if it's straight or if it's shredded a bit, you'll see a lot of loose thin wires hanging around. So you don't want that at all. If you see that, do replace it. As for the exterior cables over here, if you see any splits or any corrosion, because with splits a lot of water can enter, rust can occur, and it's just going to be ugly. It's going to wear down your cable inside, and we also want to get that replaced instantly if you do find that on your bike. So you can go ahead and check it on your bike right now. If you do find those, best or recommend just to get it changed instantly. Yeah. If there isn't, that means you've been taking great care of your bike.